One of the things I really want to talk about is this set of videos I've been come out with these one hit can't miss, paired with anything but 10. So guys, this is, how many have I made now? I don't know, it's like the 8th video or something like that. The very beginning of the process for this. I have more tweaks and stuff that I want to do and I want to test, but this is the beginning of the process for this. So by video 20, it'll probably be refined and see, because I still haven't tested going a couple rolls, which is what I think is actually going to work out the best with the 10 there. I also think that we need to incorporate the horn to make that not a dead roll. It doesn't have to be like a big winner, but I definitely think we need to incorporate at least a small horn bed. That way, them are dead rolls. And then, but I do think, I think if you're shooting the dice and you're trying to beat a 1 out of 12 average that the 10 naturally gives you, you should be able to make 2 numbers before it. You should be able to. I mean, whether it's a 6 and a 7, I just think you should be able to make that. And so that's probably the next group of videos I'm going to go 2 hits, because what that does, that allows you to collect 1 hit and allows you to free roll the other hit. All right, so that means that basically no matter what, as long as you didn't roll a come out 10, or you didn't roll a 10 in the first couple rolls there, you're going to at least make that $100 plus whatever your free roll provided off of hits. And so that's another thing that I've been looking at, and just with the way my rolls are going on average, I actually really like that. I also think that playing in that fashion, where you're going for 2 hits, if you do roll a 10, you'll come back from it much quicker, because you're guaranteeing basically $100 per shooter there, as long as you don't roll the 10, obviously. But so those are some more tweaks. On the next video, I'll probably add that in, since this is an adjustments group of videos. I'll add in going twice. I do like dropping the 4, 5, and 9 down to 75 and making the 7 a much bigger winner. I actually really like that. I actually think we can drop the horn, the 4 down to 60 and get our horn bed out of there. Even if we just did 10C, 5E, because that's going to pay 70 or 75. So I do think that's and the 4, if we do roll the 4, it's still going to pay 120. So I do think that all of that put together is kind of building to what the strategy needs to be. They may have to get knocked down to the free roll is 66, which is fine. 66 inside is fine. It's free, you're playing it for free, so it's just fine. But I am refining it, and I think by video 20, this is video 8 or something that has been about this. By video 20, you're looking at probably a pretty bulletproof strategy, because I do think the incorporation of the horn will help generate profit, and I do think waiting 2 hits per shooter is going to work out better. And now, that's not the case if you're not able to do that. You just shouldn't roll 10s. Even if you're just throwing the dice down the table, you shouldn't roll them but 8% of the time. So I get that it's very expensive when you do, but it's only on the come out. So you still shouldn't do it very much. And obviously I've had videos where I did. I had back-to-back 10s and stuff. But then I also, if you think back to those videos, I had 200 rolls that weren't. So, I mean, situationally it was bad. But I do think if I would have waited 2 rolls on the first groups of videos, if I'd have waited 2 rolls, that would have been that many more hundreds of dollars. And if we were playing the horn. So I think adding all these pieces in, and it makes it a true one hit can't miss, as opposed to, we're not like a true one hit can't miss the way we've been doing it, because we haven't added in the, we did add in the 7 these last 2 videos. 7 worth about $70, which is really good in this case. So when we add in the other 6 combinations on the horn to be worth roughly $50, now, worst case scenario, you roll a 12 or something, you lose 15, but you win 70. So now you got 55, and you can free roll to $24, 6 and 8. I mean, or you can free roll that into a don't bet or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of angles that can be played off of it. So it would be situationally, like what you hit kind of dictate what it is you're going to play. But if you're going to go 2 rolls, so you'd say, okay, my first roll, whatever roll, I'm going to collect it. My second roll, I'm going to free roll it. So maybe your first roll's an 11, you win 15, and you win 75, but you lose 10. Right, so you basically make 80. So you rack that, and then your second roll's a 5. You make 105. So now you got a lot of choices. Again, this should help every facet of it. You'd think this would make you roll more 10s with it at risk, because you're going to be at risk essentially twice as many rolls. So yeah, that's true. You are probably going to see more losers overall, but right, okay, and so I agree with you there, that we need to be going more rolls. And see, that what that does is you're generating more profit that you're putting in the bank, and you're still getting your free roll. Are you taking more risk? Sure. But, okay guys, so think about this. If you're going to play everything but the 10, and you're winning 50 on the horn, 70 on the 7, and then over 100 on all the other numbers, that's almost an even wash if it stays to 12 hits. In fact, I'm not so sure that is not positive EV. I'd have to do the math on it, but that could be positive EV in the end. So just because if you were doing it like 10C, it shouldn't be. It's gonna fall just under, I believe. But it should be really, really close, and that's just from a purely random standpoint. That if you just left it up there all the time, every bet up there all the time, that if you rolled 1 out of 12, every 12th roll you rolled a 10, you should be pretty close. I mean, it should be pretty even. So, again, if you have just a little bit of control over the 10 or over the 4, whichever one you choose, you really, really should be able to take advantage of this. And so that's kind of the angle that I'm eventually leaning to, is to be playing everything against the 10 for 2 rolls, or 2, it will just be 2 rolls. It won't be, because you're playing everything. So it'll only be 2 rolls, no matter what. Now, The one tricky part is, let's say you roll a 5 and then you roll a 7, all right? So you are going to lose that extra $15 there, but you'll win the 70. So the 7 can be good, bad. It's always going to be good, but it can be better or worse by $15. Now, if for some reason you can find a $5 table with a big limit, that would be perfect. Because if you find a $5 table with a big upper limit, which is just hard to find those, but they are around every now and then, this would work perfect, because then you're only going to be playing $5 in the pass line. Now, because you don't need that to cover the 7 no more. You could Dewey Don't It, and Dewey Doning it does actually make sense a little bit. That way you're eliminating that part of it, because on the 12 you're still winning on the one hit can't miss. So Dewey Doning it actually does make some sense. Or you can just ride it out on the pass line and let the 7 win extra. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you do roll like a 3, you do lose the extra $15 on the line, which kind of sucks. So that's the direction I'm taking this. And guys, I like building my strategies in pieces like this. I don't like doing it all at once and just saying, okay, this is it. Because I want to see how each individual piece really works. And so that's why I build them in this way. It's how I taught myself how to miss the 10. Like I said, I started really close to the wall and seeing if I could miss it there. Then I moved back a little bit until I was making a full shot. And once I was able to do it at each spot, doing it from the distance, I'd already got the technique down and really understood how to do it. And so obviously, as I've showed it on video a lot, it is possible. Again, going back, I don't think missing the 7 is possible for me. I've tried it. I put a lot of time and effort into that traditional style of dice control, trying to miss the 7. In all my paperwork, I still came out around 16% 7s. So I wasn't doing anything to affect it. So I got away from that. I don't really try to do that no more. That's why I just try to get to free roll as quick as I can. That way the 7 comes, it comes. I mean, I no longer worry about it. But so that's what I'm looking at. I think the one hit can't miss is eventually going to turn into a real one hit can't miss, where you got the horn, you get the 7, you're getting everything but the 10. As long as you don't roll a 10, you're going to cash in. And I think you need to leave it up for at least 2 rolls, and it may be 3 rolls. It may the magic number may be for 3 rolls, where you're collecting 1 for sure, and then you're manipulating a free roll out of the rest. You got to remember, every roll is a winner, as long as it's not a 10. So it makes it really easy to play craps that way. So you're really worried about one single thing, and that's it. One single thing. The rest of it is management, money management. So if you can get the shot down where you could dodge either the 4 or the 10, and as long as you can average 4 rolls before you dodge it, you don't even have to average the 12. I mean, if you're only averaging 4, though, you should rethink what you're doing, because naturally you should average 12. But so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at taking it all the way to where everything wins except for the 10. I don't really want to take it further than that, because once you take it further than that, you're losing the free roll. Because you could take it to where you're hopping the 10s as well, but then you're digging into the free roll. again, so that's the direction I think this needs to go. That I think will make it the most profitable. But not only the most profitable, it's going to be a very user-friendly strategy based upon, as long as you have the right kind of bankroll for it. And I'll try to make an adjustment where I'd lower the bankroll on it and try to figure out how you do it at a lower level where it all fits, all the money fits. See, the one thing about this higher level is you're able to get the 7 out of the place bets. So, you know, you can still win over $100 on every place bet and still make the 7 valuable. Now, you could essentially take exactly what it is and just turn it into a bubble crab strategy with $100, because $100 lay 10 on the bubble crabs, and then you could just basically do the exact same. You know, it wouldn't be 75, it'd be either $7 or $8 on the place bets and so on and so forth. So you could do it on a bubble craps machine. Or maybe these new shoot to win, I don't know what their minimum bet is on these new electronic dice tables. But so a $1 bubble crap machine, you could play this. Now you're dealing with the bubble craps machine then. But you definitely could play it on it at $100 level. But I'll be honest, guys, about it. This is not a small bankroll strategy. I mean, you're literally putting $1,000 on one bet. Now, it's a relatively safe bet, but it's still there. I mean, it's still a possibility that it's going to go bad, and it can go bad really quick. So this is for bigger bankrolls. Again, I'll try to scale it down and find something that works. But the problem is the table limits as much as anything, because you could scale it down to $35 winning bets, you know, at like the $30 level on the place bets. But you'd have to have a $5 table to get your free roll out of it. You'd have to be able to play 32 across then. And so you'd have to have a table that allows you to lay over 300, and then you'd have to have a $5 table that allows you to place $5 bets. So, but if you have that, you could scale it down to that right away, and it'll work just the same. And then it would be like a 2C, 1E. The problem is that it doesn't really help you on the 7. So you'd have to make the 7. You'd have to take $5 off the 4, 5, and 9, and that would only win 28. So your best case, you'd be getting 22 inside is what you'd be getting to keep profit on everything. But that's still, I mean, it's essentially the same thing at the $1,000 level. But I'll be honest, guys, my goal is to, when I play this, start with the $1,000 level, but eventually be playing it at the $2,000 or the $3,000 level, because if you can get to those points, guys, and I know this sounds crazy or whatever, but there's big gamblers out there that can do this. There's guys that have, you know, $50,000 bankrolls that they can just throw on the table. If you could bet it at $3,000, that means you can multiply all of those box numbers by 3,000 by 3. So now you're looking at multiple $100 hits each time. And I know you have $3,000 at risk, but if you're just trying to make $1,000, you could literally do it in 2 or 3 shooters. You know, the bigger you can play, the bigger you're going to win. I mean, that's been gambling forever. So that's eventually, I would like to get to that point where I could be laying $3,000. Or I mean, if you could lay more, it'd be great. But I mean, that'd be fine with me there. Because if you're laying $3,000, you know, that would mean that you're playing essentially $270 6 and 8s. You know, so you're winning per hit. You would be winning $315. So that just on the 6 and 8, you know, on the 4, if you're doing 75, so that's 225, you'd be winning 450 minus VIG. So, you know, it wouldn't take very many hits to get to $1,000. And then your free rolls, and when you did play free roll on them, you could be playing stuff like, you know, 220 inside and stuff like that legitimately off of one hit. It just, playing it bigger is obviously going to work better. Based upon time at the table, what it takes to meet your profit goals, all those things. The bigger you can play, the faster those things will happen. So that's where I eventually want to get it to that spot where every single roll wins as long as you don't roll a 10. And if you get it there, it's going to be easy. It's going to be an easy game. And then, you know, if you got really good at control, or some of these guys that are really good at it, like for example, my buddy George from CY, if he put time and effort into missing the 10 or the 4, you know, like he does to missing the 7, within about a month, he would probably have it down to where he could shoot 20 shots without a 4 or a 10. I mean, and I know he could do it because he would figure out how to do it, and he would repeat the process until it was muscle memory, and he could kill it. So then, if you're averaging 20 shots before a 10 or whatever it is you're betting there, you could easily go to the, you know, 5 or 6 hits and still be well within your range and just rack money all the time. And so it's one of my big arguments to dice controllers is all the time I'm like, well, you can manipulate the layout to where you only play against the 4 or the 10. Why do you keep playing against the 7? And I get people say, well, they want to keep the dice. So at that point, you've changed it from wanting to win money to wanting to be good at throwing dice. You've changed the goal. If your goal is caring about keeping the dice, that means that it's more of a skill thing for you. You're trying to prove something skill-wise as opposed to just win money. See, I just want to win money. I honestly don't care if I have the dice or not. It doesn't matter to me. As long as I'm winning money, that's what matters. And so that's a big difference, I think, with dice enthusiast controllers and dice controllers that are trying to make money. I do think that there is a separation there, where there's people that really just like the dice control aspect of it, and it's really not about the gambling. So again, if I can get my average on missing the 10 up to 13 or 14 or 15, and it stays there, because I can average the 13 and 14, but I have streaks where it doesn't. I have streaks where I fall down to like the 10, and I don't know if it's mechanics. I don't know. See, because I work days and nights, so sometimes I'm really tired and sometimes I'm not. And it seems like when I'm not really tired, I do much better. So I don't know if there's a fatigue factor, but either way, that's going to be my goal, and that's where I'm taking this. So there will probably be another 5 videos to really solidify playing everything. It really is, because I think it's going to turn out to the point that it's almost where I'm not going to say unbeatable, because nothing is unbeatable, but to where it's really hard to lose with it. Whoa. I gotta run in here and get some drinks. Anyways, guys, thank y'all for watching. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because these videos have actually been really popular, which makes sense because it's a good strategy. It just takes effort. Again, everything's effort, guys, even in craps. It's you have to put the time in, man. It takes time. So again, thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a great day. This is Jake from